Thank you for tuning in Voice of Reason Boston. I'm your host, Tamisha Civil. And this morning we have Leroy Peeples. He is the founder of the PIM Project. The PIM Project is an organization that helps young African American and brown children, or any children in the community, to stay away from gun violence, or keeping them active in the community so that they can be motivated to do better. We're going to get to know a little bit more about Leroy, how did the project start, and what is his main objective and goal for this organization, so that we can have our youth turn into positive people to put life into their community, to help them, just help them and motivate them to continue to do what they need to do in order to stay away from violence in general. Because oftentimes we see, our young men and children, African American men and women, are getting gunned down or killed just on violence. And when you really look at the big picture, you really don't know what the real reason is why people are actually killing people. And I've been actually thinking throughout the whole week, what makes a person want to pick up a gun and kill someone that looks just like them? What is the real reason? Why do you need to pick up a gun to kill someone that looks exactly like you? And that's been bothering me throughout the whole week. That's the question that's been lingering in my mind. Why is it? What makes a person want to pick up a gun and shoot someone that looks exactly like them when we should be helping each other? We see other races try to eliminate other races, but not the same race trying to eliminate the same person that looks like them. And we need to talk about it. We're happy to have Leroy here because these are the kinds of programs that we're looking for in our community, so that we can keep the children away, our youth rather, away from gun violence. Leroy, good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for coming.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks.
And we're going to talk about your project and your organization, and the things that are happening in the city of Boston, and what we can do as a collective, as a community, as a whole, to help your program flourish so that we can minimize the gun violence that are happening. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So the program, the project is prevention, intervention, and mediation. Okay. So it's the PIM project, the PIM project, and it's very self-explanatory when it comes to prevention. Prevention, we're trying to get ahead of young men, young women before they get caught in the street dynamic, and give them really mind tools, really give them the answers to the test in a way of saying, this is going to happen to you. This is going to challenge you. You're going to run down this obstacle. You're going to run down this road. Here's some things you should be thinking about on how to move. And a lot of people was against going as young as 4 and 5 years old, but I have that, like, so I did Pop Warner football with the Dorchester Eagles, and that's the age that they were, 5, 6, and 7. And I realized at that age, those kids are super duper smart. Right. So if anybody listening and you have a 4, 5, or 6-year-old, 7-year-old, then you know your child. You know what your child could obtain. You know what your child could remember. You know what he can say, and you know how he thinks. And I'll never forget, we was at a practice, and one of the young men, I was bringing him home, and he was like, "Coach, I can't go down that street." And it was Norfolk Street. And I was like, "Kid, what are you talking about?" He was like, "No, my dad said not to be in this area because he got problem with them." And then it just clicked. It was like, and this is almost 10 years ago. And it was like, wow. So now, so parents are telling their kids at that age that you have street rival problems, and I didn't agree with it. I just felt like, you know what? So I flipped it. And now I target the gangs, their kids though. Okay. And the whole strategy is if I can't get the rivals to come together, well, give me your kid. Okay. And every gang that I approached and dealt with, because these are real dudes. These they're not real fake. They're real dudes. Right. So a real dude's not gonna want his child to be him. If you know you're super negative and you know you're super ganged out, everyone will say, "I want better for I do this so my kid can have better." Cool. Then give me your child in, because that's gonna be better than what you're doing, right? Because I've tried to help you, but most 99.9% of these programs will tell you we go from 16 to 24, and then funding is just stopped. Okay. So you got 16 to 24 to get it in. And then like 14, they probably got like ABCD or certain like YOU. They got certain little things. But, you know, for a hardcore gang guy, you know, there's really no programs that's really designed to deal with that. You know what I mean? So when I got the guys to give me their kids, the whole thing was to keep them year round and just do fun stuff. They're kids. This is
just to keep them busy.
This is fun. So we go to the movies once a month. We go to Chez Vous. We go bowling. We go camping. We go fishing. Like once a month, we do some type of outing. And then when the season come around, we do our basketball program. We do a football program. Right. We got cornhole games that we do. We do hockey. They do jump rope. They do whatever you can think about. We do to keep them busy, to keep them year round, to make them friends. So if me and you are rivals, and we go to Braintree Mall, and I see you. You have your child, I have my child. It's a standoff. Yes. The kids are going to break off and go hug. Hey, Chris. Hey, Sean. Now we got to make a decision to make. Exactly. So what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, so what do we do? Now we're just standing and looking at each other, and our kids are friends. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to just give that pass. Exactly. And let them go. So we're about 5 years into the new cycle. The program, PIM's been around for five years now. This April will be 5 years. So these kids have a 5-year bond that is going to be unbreakable. That's cool. And they're growing up in these same communities that, you know, if you know Boston, every other street is a gang street. People don't want to admit it, but I'm just real with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm dealing with reality. I'm dealing with over 100 gun arrests already. We're about to be 3 months, 4 months in. We've already have over 100 gun arrests with young Black Latino men. That's just from Hyde Park to the South End. That's it. Wow. You know what I mean? Like that's not it's not big at all. It's not. It's about 2 miles.
And to tell you the truth, I really didn't know how bad gang was in Boston until I started working with the district attorney's office. When I was in my office, and then one of the investigators had a list of hats, and I'm like, "Oh, you into sports?" I was so naive. That pamphlet, I was so naive to it, and I said, "Oh, you into sports? What is that?" It was like, "No, these are gang," and I'm like, "Wow, I'm in the community of Boston, and I don't know anything about the gangs, but I know there's a big problem." Yeah, definitely. And at that moment, my eyes opened up as far as, you know, there's certain people can't wear certain kind of clothes or kind of sport hats because it's someone's territory. But what are we going to do as a whole to break that cycle?
I think community, I put a lot on community, and I put a lot on parenting. I agree. And I go back and forth with parents all the time over this. It's either you don't know or you're in denial. Exactly. Or you just, for whatever the case may be, you're just not dealing with it.
Or you're not involved.
Or you're not involved. But we do trainings, right? We do parent trainings of these are the signs, these are the things that you need to look at. Again, you can pick any street you want in the city, right? And for instance, right, this kid was at school, and the number one question a kid will ask you is where you're from, right? It's a setup type of question because, one, I might know who you are, right, and I don't fully got it, but I want to see if you're going to give me what I want and tell me you're from this area, right? So it's like we don't train a kid how to answer it. We don't even train them to say, hey, you know what, that's a tricky question. Be careful how you answer it. Long story short, the kid interpreted it as, well, maybe he's asking me where I live at. So he tells him the name of the street that he lives on. Punches him in the face, fight breaks out in the lunchroom. We get in there, dissolve whatever, and then we have a mediation. And the kid said, well, he asked me where I was from, and I thought he meant where I live, so I told him. But not realizing that his street in certain, areas, certain areas, well, certain people's minds, is considered a gang street. And that's another thing with parents and just home buyers and renters and people that live in the community. If individuals is representing your street in a negative manner as a gang, you gotta respect that. I mean, you can move, you can leave, or you have to be able to say, well, you know what? I gotta be real with myself. There's a group of young men or women that represent this street that I'm raising my family on, and it's considered a gang.
What do I need to do?
What do I need to do?
Right.
Because when that gang goes and do a shooting or shoot somebody or do something in someone else's neighborhood, well, that neighborhood's coming back. It's called retaliation. It's what they do.
It is what it
They're
is,
going to
yeah.
come back. So now they're coming back to the street that you are raising your family on. You have an obligation to protect your family. You
Yeah.
can't put your head in the sand and say, oh, well, I don't know my street's a gang street. Yes, you do. Sure you do.
Right.
If you're on social media, you're watching the news, if you're paying attention, if you're in tune with the city, then you know there's a group that represents that in a negative manner.
And I like the way that you use the Abraham Maslow law
Yeah.
with your project. You use the elements of it, which is emotionally and mentally training in order to change the child's life.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's very important because most of the time, the mental piece, we don't think. We just go off of our reactions, off of our
Right.
feelings. And I think when you take a child from at a young age and you train them mentally, like you have a choice. At the end of the day, you have a choice.
Right.
You either can go that route or you can go another way. Which way are you going to take in order to change your life?
Right. Our kids are losing. Our kids are losing because I'm going to tell you, we, community, older generations, before me, after me, whatever, they, like I grew up on Morton Street, Corbett Street in Mattapan. And the way that the older guys glorified jail, they made jail seem like the next level. Like it was
Yeah.
the move. Like, yo,
If you
like
get
we gotta get there. It
Yeah.
was like, yo, we got our own table. Like, trust me, it's pretty much like it's the move. Like, yo, y'all should be trying to get here, get upstate. And when you're that young, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and you're hearing that, you're thinking like, yo, and I hear kids today be like, yo, watch when I get on the unit. And I automatically get into them. I go hard on them because it's like that happened to us. I know that feeling with thinking that it's something, and I think that's like the worst setup that happens to our community is when you glorify prison and you make prison seem like it's something when prison is
It's
horrible.
like a stamp.
But it's horrible.
Right.
It's horrible, and you're projecting that imagery that. You call home, you're like, yo, what's up? Yeah, we here, we getting it in, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're not. You're miserable and you're horrible and you want to come home. Tell them the truth. Tell kids the truth. Because there's a whole generation right now that think, yo, watch when I get to Nashville Street. Watch when I get to South Bay. Watch when I'm going to get upstate. Yo, my dude's got a table. Yo, your dude's are lying to you. Jail's horrible.
Yeah,
because right now, jail is not a deterrent at all. No one is scared to go to jail in the population that I work in and me and my team work in. We deal with individuals who's happily ready to take that gun charge, take that murder charge, go sit down. And then you have a generation of young people, right? They have this thing that they say when they argue with each other. They'll say, we up, right? Simple as that, we up. And they're talking about, they'll say, check the scoreboard, right? And the scoreboard is how many of us killed you and how many of you killed us? And we'll say, yo, score 7-6, we up. But they're talking about murder, so then I'll stab and I'll say, okay, well, 7-6, that's 13. That's 13 homicides. That's 13 families. That's 13 mothers going through this horrific time, and y'all are battling body count until you get caught for that murder.
Not only
and then
that.
And then it changed, but it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Well, it's a game, too, because, again, I'm in DYS a lot, and I deal with a lot of young people, and I this is how we got to do this, right? Please, don't look at it like rocket science. Don't look at it like open heart surgery, brain surgery. Look at this as simple as it is.
Right.
I could go on Facebook Live right now, pull up somebody's hood, right? Their street sign, put up a middle finger, say it's on, and when I leave here, I got beef.
Wow.
It is just that simple.
Yes.
You could literally,
believe
I'm not lying to you, you can literally get killed because of social media. You can go on Snapchat, run your mouth, and the flip side to that too is, you don't even have to know the gang to join it. I can just go online, throw up a sports team or whatever hood I want to rep, and just claim it. I'm down with them now. And it isn't like there's a hierarchy that can chase you down and be like, hey, you're not with us. It's almost like self-recruitment, right? No one's managing that. Like social media is probably law enforcement's best tool ever created because these dudes incriminate themselves. You know, to where they've then changed laws to where if I went on live and flashed a gun, that's probable cause. That's enough for a search warrant to go in the house. The kids don't know that. That's why we're at over 100 gun arrests right now. So I mean, it's deep. It's a lot. It's multi-layered. And one program will never be able to do it all. That's why you got to focus on. Well, we're super laser focused on young people and gang violence. If you ask me, well, what else do you do? We don't do nothing else. I'll make referrals out every day, but we know who's driving the violence, and we're going after them. And we're trying to get those kids and keep them around year round. That's where, you know, it's hard. You think about funding. It's hard to keep a group of 30 for a year. Yeah, it's hard. You know what I mean? But it's so intentional because they are potentially the next gang. So we're trying to cut off a generational cycle. These gangs are generational. These are not wake up in the morning with a gang. These are falling down from Columbia Road. You think about the projects, Mission Hill or Orchard Park, or Heath Street or Morton Street Bricks, whatever. These places are not going nowhere. They're gonna just keep reinventing people, and then until we just get inside of it and then clean up. And there's a lot of good guys. You know what I mean? Like, I work with a lot of guys that don't want to do what they're doing. Right. And if we provide the right opportunity, they will put that gun down and go.
You think so?
I know so. It works, but not to McDonald's, not to Dunkin' Donuts. It has to be, you know, it has to be a job that's gonna equivalent to
self-esteem.
Yeah, to what they're doing. A lot, I would say 90%. If we had a real self-sustaining job, they would take it in a heartbeat.
Okay. Do you think that there's enough job training or educational training? I know most of them either have their GED. Do you think that if there was more job training, they would go into the training so that they can educate themselves to be qualified for those positions?
I agree. I think so. I know so.
Okay.
I'm there. I'm with them. There's a young population, a DYS population that just don't think, right? But they're in DYS. They're captive. We should be able to go in and get them at that, because now they're in, right? They're not drug influenced. We can sit with them. We can break it down to them. We can literally show you how you're going to lose. And I think that's probably one of our biggest assets, is being able to have the ability to foresee and show, because it's already been mapped out. We've already lost enough. We've been losing for years, right? This is a generational thing, right? I remember literally coming out of my house, meeting with the older guys, and we're talking like 35, 40 years ago.
Wow.
It hasn't changed. It's the same. It's the same mindset. Oh, absolutely. Once I figured it out, I figured it out because they glorified prison, right? They glorified street life. Everything was just so glorified. Being young, naive, just following and caught in the mix. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I went to jail for not even a day. I went to jail for, I would say, 5 minutes, right? And was like, oh, this is jail. See, because I never had the image. I never seen what it was. Just, you just heard, right? But when I got to Walpole, it was like, oh, this is jail. I'm all set. I'll never be back. Let me do this bit. I'm going to get it out of the way. And at that time, they had college courses. That they had the outside colleges coming in. I literally just did the whole school thing, the whole bit. Yeah. Everyone's in the yard playing ball, lifting weights, playing cards. I'm out the cell, into the class, into the jail, the school, the professors, and I'm just getting it for the next 4 years, just spamming it out. You know what I mean? It's like, because I figured it, I'm like, oh, so this is it was the best disguise ever to just use the inmates you have inside to glorify it, to promote it, to get you in. Right. And then I started really thinking about the economical side of it, and when you shoot a gun, who makes money? And if you really break that down and you think about, well, someone's going to get caught, so now everybody in the court system makes money, right? The EMS got to come, they get money, the hospitals, the doctors, the nurses. Then you need this therapy, the therapy people. Police got to come, so they got to get money. It's a whole host of people that makes money off of these violent acts. So then you ask yourself, well, are they really trying to stop it? Do they really want to stop it? Do they really want to put their self out of business? if you really just think about it on a minute level, it doesn't even make sense to stop it.
Okay. Because they wouldn't have anything to do.
Well, it generates billions of dollars too.
So why don't we think, as young people growing up, why don't we think, well, if I don't want, to have these people to make money, if I think, because, when I worked in the court for several years, and you always hear, the system is setting me up. The system is setting me up. Well, you have a choice. Yeah. You can stay out of the system. So it comes with accountability as well. If you pick up a gun, these are the things that are going to happen. Who put you in that place?
Where are they supposed to learn that at? Where do they learn that?
Well, I think everybody should. I think everything should start at least at home.
Right, but now.
But if I understand what you're saying. If your home doesn't have that stability,
yeah,
and you're a single mother, you're working 2 jobs to keep food on the table, and you're working hard, and you're not there to really watch the kids. Then you have the streets raising your kids. Then it becomes the street is raising your child, and then that's what your child knows. Because I know a lot of people, I can speak for my parents, my personal experience. They worked hard. Haitian immigrants come here, they work hard, and they have 4 children. All of us went to college, but there was just my brother. He was just accustomed to the life. 2-parent household.
Yeah.
They did everything that they can do, but he was accustomed to the street life. Something was attracting him, and he just ventured off into doing his own things, getting himself in trouble. And it's like, you have these wonderful projects for children who really need it, but you have, on the other hand, you have all these other kids who come from a 2-family parent household, who is given everything that they need, but still are accustomed to the street life, and they want to put up this facade. And when they really get in trouble, they said, they set me up. No, you had everything that you needed. You chose a different route.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, that's me.
That's just my personal intake.
Well, that was me too. I had mom, dad, still have mom, dad was in the household. My brothers, sister, they all went, their straight way. Mm-hmm. Probably a bump here, whatever, but nothing serious at all. And then I just went a total top. I went left. They went right. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a choice, right? It was absolutely was a choice. I just think that we have enough intel and information to be able to deliver to young people, to teach, because everything's about teaching. Like this is a whole educational thing.
Yep.
We have to be able to explain to them and show them how they're going to lose. I mean, something as simple as tinted windows. I have this conversation every day with young people.
Right.
They can't see in your car. It's illegal. That's all they need to pull you over.
Exactly. A tail light.
I mean, so why is that so hard to comprehend? And a young person will tell you, yo, my drums out here, my smoke, we got the beef, I can't let people see me in the car. But now you're in the car, and I got my clients, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. They all got gun charges right now. A young person will tell you, I'll rather get caught with it than without it. And then you got to really break that down and analyze that. And you say, well, does it make sense? Well, if you're in the gang life and someone's trying to kill you, if you got murder beef, you're probably not going to let them kill you. You're probably going to try to protect yourself, right? But then you still want to come out and enter society, right? But now you're in the car with the tinted windows with the gun, and you get pulled over because your windows are tinted.
Right.
So it's almost like it's like a setup, right? But who set you up?
Exactly.
You're setting yourself up, and it's about explaining this to them where, at the end of the day, it's never going to be worth it. There's no prize. There's no prize in street life. There's no win. You can't show me a person who won, because I want to know what they won. Like, what did you get? Like, see, the win is if you can get out and come back and do this. That's the win, because now you got to come back and fix it, because now you were able to go through some, like we went through that whole 90s era that was horrible. It was like 200 something, over 200 murders, right? Now we're capping off at like 50, 60. 50, 60 is horrible. That's way too much. If we really came together as one community, like, I can guarantee you that 50, 60 murders could be cut in half in 1 year.
Okay.
It's just communication.
It is.
It's literally just communication.
And I think everybody is out. That's just for me. Everybody's trying to do something. And
no communication.
And then we get lost. We're not communicating with each other. If I have an opportunity and I know that you have a wonderful project and organization in the city of Boston that can potentially help you and more your clients,
right,
I'll put you on. But everybody wants to do their own thing, and then we get lost in translation.
Well, a lot of a lot of organization use the word gang, right? Because it sounds sexy. It's whatever, right? It's attractive when you go in at funders. We're going to work with the highest risk population, the proven risk population. We're going to work with the top shooters. But then you go get the kid that stole a bike at school. Yeah, we need to help that kid too. But don't take resources from the guys who are actually driving violence, because we need to help them. Exactly. Those are the guys that we need to get the gun to put down so that, we can have a safe summer and work our community. Like, I really work with these kids, and I can honestly say, the right, because it boils down to funding. It boils down to being able to get and move them and deal with them, how you need to work with them. There's no one I'm dealing with that's just like, nah, man, just go to hell. I'm going to kill today. They want out. A lot of these guys are older too,
and they don't know how to. You
got to think about being 30, right? You've been banging since you've been 12, and you can't get out because a new generation has come now, and we call it a trophy piece. The trophy piece is the OG, the young gunner who's now an OG, but he can't get out. He can't get out because a generation cycle of gang has came now, and you got the name. So it's like you're going to forever be a target unless we can get that type of mediation. So now you're 30, but the rival is 14. He doesn't want to hear nothing you got to say. Exactly. All he knows is your side killed someone on his side. You're 30 years old, and you have beef with a 14, 15-year-old. You get caught with a gun, you're an ACC, armed career criminal, level 3, you're gone life, 30 years, 20 years, whatever. He gets caught with a gun, he's going to DYS for a year, 6 months, he's out. You're going to always lose that battle. We have grown men who have beef with our kids, with our babies. Imagine your 9th grader with beef with a grown man. And those are the things that we try to mediate every day and explain, like, kid, you weren't even born when he was out. Right. The guy that you're trying to defend in the neighborhood, the guy that you want to ride for, you don't know him.
And then another thing that killed me is I think it was a month ago when Kendrick Price, athlete director from assistant athlete director.
He just was buried on last Saturday. A week ago. Last Saturday.
What killed me is, we have people in our community that want to give back. He was living in Quincy, and he came back to the community to help out, but someone killed them. Yep. No reason. There's nothing, no information about why or who, but it breaks my heart that we have young men who's just picking up guns just to shoot, whether you have a rival or not. Like, what is making you want to pick up a gun to kill someone that looks just like me? We should be working together. That's just my mentality.
No, it's a great mentality to have, but I caution you on overthinking it. Don't overthink it. Okay. These shootings are senseless. Yeah. I'm talking about, something as simple as the way you looked at me. And I always keep going back to social media because I monitor it and I see it. Like a kid can make a diss song, put a song out there, mention your name, and mention someone that died in your hood, and now that whole neighborhood wants to kill you. And if someone's seen you, they would literally like shoot you. So it's like they're not really figuring it out until they're caught.
Right. I go to DYS.
I go to DYS a lot.
It's just them thinking about it.
There was kids I work with in DYS that would say, oh, yeah, when I'm 18, they got to let me go. They're so misinformed, right? They're so misinformed. And that's enough. Again, I go back to that educational piece, too. We don't educate our kids on the dangers and the laws and just how real this thing is. And, even community, right? So I'll post every shot's fired, right? Just to give community.
Yeah, I've seen that couple of that.
So
just
I
to give them a heads up.
But just to say, hey, you know what? Because if there's shots fired on this street, that might be your child's route from school. Now you have the ability to say, hold on, let me call them and change route because something happened. You know what I mean? Something happened over there. Like, there's a number of reasons why community don't interact and don't help. I don't agree. It's just my personal opinion. If I lived on a street and there was shots fired, I'm coming out. I'm active. I'm active because I'm trying to raise the family too. So it's like we don't even knock on. We don't know our neighbors.
No, we don't.
We don't even know our neighbors.
Scared. We don't want to get caught up. That's why a lot of cases sometimes, that I used to deal with when I was at the DA's office, victims, witnesses, they don't want to participate because they're fear for their life.
Right.
They're fear for what will happen just by speaking up. But I get that piece, but at the same time, when you're not speaking up, you're giving it another opportunity to happen again.
Right, and the difference with that generation of older people and the generation of older people when we came up, I'll never forget. There was a house with a lady, Miss Thompson. She's probably not alive now. This is so long ago. She was way older back then. My point is, we knew that you couldn't stand in front of her house.
Right.
You just knew it. There was no sitting on her stairs. There was no standing in front of her house. It was not happening. She did not care. She would tell you quick, I'm calling the police now, so do whatever you want to do. Like, she was just one of those older black women who just was like, I don't care about y'all. I don't care about that. You can't stand here. You can't do that. You know what I mean? And then in the same breath, when she came home, she would drop applications on the sidewalks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so on one hand she was saying you need to do it, but long story short, we accept what's happening in the community.
I would agree.
We accept it.
And I think another piece to it too is we kind of do a lot of blaming.
We blame everybody.
Instead of being held accountable, I think we put a lot on, we need this, we need that. But are we taking responsibility that, okay, my child has a problem. I need the help. I need to be there to find out what the situation is before it gets out of hand. I understand that, the city of Boston has an obligation to make sure that, they provide us programs, funding, so that we can help our community to get better. But I think at the same time, it starts with us too.
I think you're 100% right. I take a lot of heat for trying to put, and I don't blame it solely on parents, because like you said, a lot of single parents, it's very hard.
It's very hard.
And I get it. I understand
it's hard. I'm married, and it's hard to take care of one child by myself, let alone being a single parent.
Right. And, these kids, our kids are mad. I deal with a lot of kids who are mad. And, we don't deal with mental health because we're scared of it. It just, for whatever reason, we're scared of it.
We hide it. We don't believe in
I thought mental.
I
thought, me personally, I thought mental. When I heard mental, I thought crazy. Immediately.
Me too.
No one's never really broke down like anxiety and this
PTSD.
All these things that our kids are trauma. Trauma
from like an abuse of a family member or growing up, leaving you behind.
I'm on shooting scenes, right? So I go to the scene. We go and check and see if our client, for one. And then we're trying to, figure out what's going on and see if we can get ahead of any stuff with retaliation. And I'll be on the scene. We'll be trying to figure out who's the young person shot. And then a group of people will come to the scene just to go live and go live on the scene. There's been people shot, and the first thing a person do is get his phone and film it, opposed to calling 911.
Exactly.
That is like insane. It's like, so you had presence of mind to film it for the social media, but you couldn't call 911? Like, you didn't think to call 911 to help this young person?
Yesterday, I was watching a video where an elder woman was on the subway, on the train, and
I seen that.
Some guy kicked her.
Right? Yeah, I seen that.
And nobody called. They were just recording it.
Yeah. Well, see, again, that's what we're dealing with. Are you desensitized? Are you okay with it? Is it just the way we're gonna go? Or so, a friend of mine, Jonathan Gates, we're gonna start the first street where we're gonna block it off, and we're gonna ask the residents to come out, mingle, have some food, little activities. But the whole objective to this is, do you know your neighbor? Like, do you know who's living next door to you? Do you want to know who's living next door to you? Because your child has to walk down that same street too.
Exactly.
So we're gonna try to bring back some old school traditional things. We're gonna start next month, and we're gonna ask and see if community would take charge, and let's go street to street to street or neighborhood. We, again, people say, oh, the mayor this, oh, the commissioner this, oh, the police this, oh, that. You can say whatever you want to say on that level, but as a community,
what are you doing?
What is your responsibility? What are you doing for your community? And if it's nothing, then you probably don't have the right to criticize or attack somebody, Because 9 out of 10 times, those are the people, it's your child.
Yeah.
It's your child. You know what I mean? And it's like, we're not blaming you, but like, you shouldn't get the luxury to sit sideline, bystander, ghost, right? You shouldn't get the luxury to be able to do that. And the village is trying to work with your child. So I'm in court 3-4 times a week, and a lot of parents would say, hey, he's disrespectful, I've done all I can, my hands is washed, judge, take him. And I will always go to mom and say, Mom, listen, I get it, he didn't piss you off to the top of your ability, but that's jail. And you think he's bad now, but when he goes in there, he has to choose a side. He's acting out for whatever reason. He's not even gang involved. When you get him back, he's gonna be representing a hood. So let's try something else. Like, let's exhaust all your resources. You know what I mean? Like, let's try to find the young men's group. Let's find these young fathers group. These mentoring.
Need to get involved too.
Churches are weird. I'm working with the churches to try to figure out. I like to go to the church and speak to the congregation, not to preach to them, just to say, hey, you know what? You're in here asking for God to help your child. It's your child.
Right.
You got to come. You need to hit these resources.
Yeah, it's like,
you know?
It's like saying faith without works is dead. You have the faith that your child will change, but at the same time, you need to be putting in the work. Because sometimes, most of the time, the children just want some love or hugs and affection from the parent. Just want a one-on-one time, go out with them to a restaurant, talk to them, and be like, so what's going on in school? I see this, your teacher said that. Or just being involved with the, just reaching out to the teacher. Can you please tell me what's going on and how I can help you make his day successful? It's just a little bit of
wrap around.
It's just these little things that you can do that can kind of help the situation. I remember growing up in Mattapan, my sister and I and my brother-in-law at the time, we went to the movies. Coming from the movies, we got shot. Somebody shot the back tank of his car. We don't know who it is. You know, my parents, when we were growing up, we just go to school, church, and then go home.
Right.
We don't go outside. We don't play with nobody, not no one in the neighborhood. And I think, you know, some of the kids felt some kind of way because they didn't like us either.
Right.
They would burn our clothes when we dry them outside. They would pull our hair when we're walking from Burger King. But these are all the things that, you know, people, young youth still be dealing with. But I know for me, we didn't associate with the outside neighborhood. My parents didn't want to know. Go to school, go to church, and come home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Those things are still happening now. Bullying to me is like an all-time high. You know, school isn't the best. You know, like there's a lot of things happening in our schools that
I don't think the teachers are equipped to show to teach.
Well, they're not
about because they don't understand where they're
think
coming
about
from.
it, right? So you went to school and you majored in English, and now you become an English teacher. Your whole focus is teaching the kids English or math or whatever your professional subject is. It isn't to identify, like, so a kid could come to class, his head's down, or he's sad, or he's being rude, he's zoned out. And instead of kicking him out, right? Try to just red flag it after class, and get with him and ask him, because a lot of these kids are homeless. A lot of these kids got shot at last night, and they imagine being shot at, right? Shot at, jumped, and then you still make it to school. You're really not trying to focus on that math. You're trying to give off a sign to say, hey, I got to keep a little tough show, but I'm going to give you a sign, and I'm hoping you pick up on it. Pull me in. Try to help me. Try to figure out what's wrong with me, because I deal with that a lot. A lot of these kids, and again, you can't even stress the number of kids, our kids that are homeless. Our kids are couch surfing. They're, friend's house. They're very young. These are very young. And people can
take advantage of them at that same time.
I'm saying 15, 16, 14. I have clients 14, 15, 16, and you would think at that age it's against the law, but they're homeless. Again, this is a multi-layered issue, because I can go get what my expertise is and go get a gang kid. I still got to go to external partners. Because we don't provide those services. Right. So I still got to go partner with a whole bunch of people. I mean, if you feel like job readiness programs, workforce development programs, JRI has been like a lifesaver to our program. I mean, the
have
city.
Have you collaborated with the Boston Police?
Absolutely, because they have the PAL Association, so I could write a grant for them. and they'll give us funding to keep the summer activities going on.
Okay.
PAL has been great to help our kids out in doing that.
What do you think we can do more to have, more like?
I think it's workshops too, like workshops and trainings. You can't have enough workshops and trainings. You just can't, because parents are uneducated. There was a young man that had got killed, and just a couple of years ago, and it's destroyed the family, as you can imagine. And Dad had a hard time. So I remember we went over there, we got with the family, and I remember looking in the kid's room, and he had a street sign, right? I won't mention it, but he had a street sign in his room. And I explained to Dad, I was like, Dad, look. And he was like, yeah, it's where we live at. I'm like, yeah, but it's a gang, And at that second, it clicked into him, like, wow. Then I showed him on social media, what that street allegedly is responsible for and who they're robbing, and I broke everything down to him, and that man just cried, because he was like,
he was
I missed it. He missed it, and it was right. It was in his. He's seen it every day, but he looked at the street sign
thinking it's just a street.
Well, it's the street that they live on.
Just like
he took the sign out. You know what I mean?
Just like I saw the list of hats, and I was like oblivious to it. I was like, oh, you like sports?
Right. I left I had a pamphlet for you. So I created this whole pamphlet that just educated what those hats really mean. And for me, the reason was doing, and I'm not the first. It's been around for 30, 40 years, right? But you got to keep putting it out there because it's new generations now, right? But the hats add up. The sports team adds up for new and improved gangs. Moral is, I can't fathom a mother buying a hat knowing this hat could get her child killed. I'll never believe that.
Wow.
I'll never believe that. So if you knew that this hat represented a gang, I'm going to be inclined to believe that you wouldn't buy it. Or you would stop your child from wearing it.
Right.
There's guys that I work with who call me and ask, hey, what's this hat mean? Is this hat cool? And I'll be like, yay, nay, no. And the kid be mad at the dad, but it's like, no, that's dad. Like, he's trying to figure it out, because I've watched kids get killed for these hats.
Do you think there could be a way to stop that?
Well, listen, I took the
just
pamphlets,
by educating, doing training.
Again, you're a parent, right? I mean, your mom, right? So again, you wouldn't do it.
No, absolutely.
So again, if I gave you the pamphlet and it laid out what these hats mean, they got dual meanings. One hat could be that sports team, what it's designed to mean, or it could be what the streets say it mean. Now, that's your decision to let your child. My kids can't wear them. Nah.
But I think
because I don't need you trying to explain what I know what happens with it. It's a gamble. No matter how you look at it, it's a gamble. Someone's gonna ask you where you from. Are you on that? Yo, you do know what that hat mean? Yo, are you on that? I don't need my kid going through that.
And you're absolutely right. But
and he can just take it off, and then he don't got to go through it. Take it off, he don't got to go through it.
Yeah.
Put it on, you got to go through all this stuff. Nah, take it off.
But that's the thing, though, that I feel like if I love sports, genuinely love sports, and I'm not in that lifestyle, and I'm wearing a nice Celtics jacket today, and I love Celtics. I'm from Boston. I'm repping. But if I go to any city just to do some community outreach, I'll get in trouble for this.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's like this, right? You can have your hat. You can wear your hat, but you got to be responsible.
Smart.
You got to be like, you're just not going to go into the middle of Grove Hall wearing the wrong hat. Someone's going to challenge you.
Yes, you're right.
Now, if you're going out with your parents and y'all are going to Somerville, or you're going to the movies, or you're going to outskirts, by all means, rock, do you.
Yeah.
Don't come in the inner city.
Well, looking for something.
Do not come in the inner city just trying to do what you want if you're not really on that.
Yeah.
Now, the guys that are on that.
And I think they know.
Well, they identify with it, so they want you to know where they're from. They're not, so, it's tricky now because the rivals will wear their rivals' hats,
Yeah.
The rivals. So, again, I think it boils down back to education. Are you willing to be educated on your community? Are you willing to be educated on what the young generation is doing right now, the new trends, the new language, the new signs? These, like, we have shots fired every day. These are the reasons why these shots are fired. Here's the social media. If your child won't give you his or her password, there's a reason.
Yeah.
If they blocking you and don't want you on their page, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And we know our kids are dying because of social media. Now you got to, you know, it's just a bigger responsibility that lays with that.
I have a cousin that's in Walpole, and he told, like, all my family, the boys that are growing up in my family, and he said, if you guys, it was harsh what he said to them, but I understood where he was coming. He said, if you guys ever come to the jail where I'm at, or you guys ever go to jail, I'm going to kill you guys. Because the life that's in prison and jail is nothing to be with. He said it's worse than hell.
Yeah.
It's worse than hell. And, you know.
No one says that publicly, though.
No.
Publicly, they make
So that's why we need people like you.
Yeah, you tell the truth.
And I'm definitely going to have you back. And maybe you can have one of your clients come in and just give a testimony.
I thought about it, yeah.
How,
we can do that.
Things have changed based on coming to the PIM project. We will definitely work on that. And just give us your email. Those who are listening in, your email, where they can reach you, for you to just do motivational speaking and just education about this gang thing that's going on.
So it's PIM, it's the PIMproject.org. If you go to the PIMproject.org, you could send an email through that.
You guys on Facebook?
Yep. It's PIM Project, the PIM Project, and the best way is just through that email. And I told you, we're very ground, we're very direct. There's a hotline. 617-372-5669, 617-372-5669, and someone to get right back to you 24/7.
Leroy, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for those who are watching on Facebook and tuning in on Voice of Reason Boston. This is a real issue in our community, and we need to talk about it. We need to continue to have people like Leroy to come and tell us what the issue is and how we can try to come together as a collective to try to resolve this issue. It's not going to happen overnight, but definitely we can start doing something to, decrease the kind of gun violence that we're hearing about every day in the city of Boston. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good day today.
Yeah, blessed day.
Blessed day.
Yeah, that's dope.